We're live.
Thank you, Connor. Good morning. This is a convening of the Massachusetts Gaming Commission. I'm Jordan Maynard. I serve as chair. Today is Thursday, February 12th, 2026. It's approximately 10:03 a.m. It's meeting number 581. We're hosting this meeting virtually, so we will do a roll call. Good morning, Commissioner O'Brien.
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning, Commissioner Hill.
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning, Commissioner Skinner.
Good morning.
And good morning, Commissioner Broder.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Happy to be here.
All right. So we're going to start with Secretary Broder, and I believe you have a set of minutes for us.
I do, Mr. Chairman, and not to tease the later on down the agenda, we had a bunch of executive session minutes, but that'll come, as you know, at a later time. So I move that the commission approve the public meeting minutes of January 15th, 2026, as included in the commissioner's packet and discussed here today, subject to any corrections for typographical errors or other non-material matters.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Brien,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner,
Aye.
and Commissioner Broder.
Yes.
And I vote yes, 5-0. So thank you so much, Commissioner Broder, in your capacity as secretary, and thank you to the legal team as always. With that, I'm going to turn it over, and it is on the agenda. I missed it because I went straight down to 4. The administrative update, and I'm going to turn to Executive Director Dean Serpa. Good morning, Dean.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Thank you, and good morning, commissioners. I do have one update for this morning. It's an important one, and maybe one that most of you know, but for the purposes of everybody else on the call, I just wanted everyone to recognize that we're joined today for the first time by our new General Counsel, Kevin Scanlon. And he's been here just this week, is his first week. I think you all know Kevin is an extremely experienced attorney with a number of years of GC service within state government, Massachusetts state government, as well as in the private sector. And I'm excited to have him here with us. I know he's going to have a significant impact on our operations and really brings a real body of work to the commission that's going to be a resource to us. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'll let him say a few words. Of course, I need to take a moment to thank the entire legal team who held things up and made everything work during the transition period. So I appreciate that for the full team. And of course, we should thank again Justin Stempeck for his work as the interim general counsel. It was stellar work, and we really had some important and complicated issues during that period. So that was a real challenge for him and us, and he led us through it. So thank you very much, Justin, and welcome to Kevin. And I guess I also need to make sure everybody knows that Justin will be serving in a new role at the commission as the Chief Deputy General Counsel for the agency. So those are all positive impacts to our situation. And that's my update, Mr. Chair.
All right. You want to kick it to Kevin?
I'll say thank you, Dean. Thank you, Chair. Thanks everyone who have been so welcoming to me for these past few days. It's a little bit like drinking from a little bit of a fire hose, trying to get up to speed on all of the work here. But I'm excited to be here. I look forward to working with the commissioners and the Mass Gaming Commission team. I know there are a lot of important and complicated issues coming before the commission, and I'm enthusiastic to help the commission navigate those challenges. And I also wanted to extend my thanks to Justin and the legal team for Justin's steady leadership and keeping as interim general counsel and leading legal team has been such a tremendous resource to me since I've been here. And I know the entire legal team and myself are going to work very closely, and look forward to working with all of you. So thank you very much for your welcome, and I look forward to seeing you and working with all of you.
Thank you, Attorney Scanlon. I will add in here that first I want to thank Justin for all his hard work. I don't think there's a better gaming attorney in the country, and we're lucky to have him. And so thank you so much. And GC Scanlon, I can say that I was at the Pinnacle Awards last week, and that the Boston Chamber hosts, and Commissioner Skinner was there and a few of us, and multiple people pulled me aside and said, wow, the Gaming Commission really pulled one off by getting Kevin. And so you're well respected all throughout state government. And we hope that you bring all those years of knowledge at OCABRA and the T and the Convention Center Authority, and I could go on and on and on. And we hope that you can bring that same level of professionalism here, and we know you will. And we're really excited to have you, Kevin. So thank you. Commissioners, anything to add?
I'll jump in. Welcome, Kevin. Really a pleasure to meet you, and I do look forward to witnessing you pull off here for the commission what I've heard that you've been able to pull off for other state agencies. So you've got some really high expectations. So I'm going to hold you to all of them. I also want to add my thanks to the entire legal team, in particular to Justin, for taking the reins during a time where we needed him to, and steering us to safety, and moreover, remaining so gracious during the search for permanent GC. Much appreciation and thank you. And I'm really, really happy that you're going to be continuing on in your new role as Chief Deputy GC.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Brien.
Just not to hold up the meeting, but welcome. I'm hoping to be in later today and tomorrow to see you and to say welcome in person. Looking forward to working with you. And I also, to reiterate what's been said, thank the legal team and Justin in particular, who I'm sure is going to be invaluable to you in his new position as well. Like the chair said, second to none in terms of knowledge for the Commonwealth and the gaming industry, and has been indispensable in this time. So looking forward to meeting you in person, and welcome aboard.
Paul, and thank you.
Sure. Ditto. I do want to let you know that everyone, for good reason, kind of falls at the feet of Philip Eng. But those of us in the know you don't have success without a good lawyer in the background. So I'm not sure if there was overlap, Kevin, between you and the current GM. I don't recall. But you set the table for no speed zone, no slow zones, and all that jazz. So keep up the good work in this venue.
And tap to pay, Commissioner Broder. We learned that.
Love that.
Hey, Kevin Scanlon. So thank you, because you've saved me a lot of time, and I've actually made the silver line on time a lot. So anything else? All right. Welcome, Kevin. Godspeed. All right. Anything else, ED Serpa? I'm seeing nothing. All right. With that, we're going to go to item number 4. We're going to turn it over to the Director of Research and Responsible Gaming, and that's Mark Vanderlinden.
Great. Thank you so much, Chair Maynard. Good morning, everybody, and welcome, Kevin. I look forward to working with you on a variety of different matters for the Commission. I have 2 items today, one on responsible gaming, one on research. To kick it off on the responsible gaming side, we have the Q2 update from the GameSense team. I'm not going to say too much more, but I will say I'm going to turn it over to Marlene Warner, the CEO of the Mass Council on Gaming and Health, to lead this piece of it. Marlene?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Chair Maynard and commissioners. Nice to see you all this morning. I just wanted to jump in and Mike, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to share your presentation. There we go. Honestly, my team has this, so I'm going to step out in a moment, but I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for the long-term relationship we've had. And we are so privileged and appreciative of being selected to be the being able to move on in this direction with Player Health Services. So we just wanted to come on and say thank you for that. We are nearly done with the contracting process, but we're just really pleased to be on this road with you guys again. So that's my 2 cents. Mike Tuplin's going to take it from here, who's our COO.
Thank you, Marlene, and thank you, Mark and Chair, Commissioners. Appreciate your time here today. I'll move us through the presentation. I think we have a nice one for you. Here, we're going to, again, look at typical kind of Q2 data highlights and show you what our staff and our centers have been doing. And then we're going to do a little more unique since the last several presentations. And I have some great GameSense managers here to walk us through some of the activities we've been doing, talk us through our Magic Moments and Champion Awards, kind of hearing straight from the source and the folks that work directly with our patrons. And then we'll pivot to upcoming for FY26 Q3, which I know we're already in the midst of, but we have a lot of fun events coming up for that as well. So without further ado, presenting staff today, as you know, Marlene Warner, myself, we have Aisha, who is the GameSense manager at MGM, Jason, who is the GameSense manager at EBH, and Jolynn, who is the GameSense manager at PPC, who will be supporting me in this presentation today. A quick look at our typical funder slide. This is always here and can be accessed whenever you need. But let's get into the fun stuff. So Q2 data highlights from our GameSense centers, our calls, live chats, VSCs, and activities at the centers. To start off, our GSA interactions reached over 15,000 intensive interactions, which again are exchanges and demonstrations, really more robust conversations with our patrons. We have plenty of small anecdotal conversations, or even showing folks where to go in the casino if they ask us a location question. But these are really the ones that we have an activity related to, or they're looking for information, or perhaps looking into a VSC enrollment or a reinstatement to come back into play at the casino or sports books. If you were to look at our Q2 or Q1 comparison, that was around 20,000, but that does really speak to RGEM in September, and it really almost doubles our 5,000 a month average when we do kind of that intense responsible gambling awareness month. So we're right on par with most normal months outside of September, which is fantastic across our 3 centers. These are the in-person interactions that we have throughout the months and throughout the quarter. I'll get into, and actually our managers will talk to you a bit more, but we offered a really robust set of activities at the centers this time to drive more engagement with overall 14 activities in the 3 months of Q2, which I'll show you in just a bit. So I'm talking there. And then we have the raffle prizes that we do, which we have kind of increased as well. Bruins baskets, winter warmer baskets, kind of on theme for the quarter in December, just to kind of show patrons, to come over, garner that initial conversation where we can really connect and have those more intensive interactions. We're also really busy on our call lines, as you can see here, 222 game line calls in the quarter. We're really seeing a lot of these calls, and the next slide, a lot of the live chats are focused around VSC and reinstatement discussions. About 80% of these calls are in that realm, and most folks, finding this on a website or on the internet, or just picking up the phone and making this call. So our staff are really able to help in those discussions. So we're not just in person, but we're on on telephony here to support the patrons of Massachusetts and reach them. And this really, it revolves around our remote VSC opportunities as well, which have really helped. In the next data point with the VSC and follow-up insights, to reach folks interested in voluntary self-exclusion. We're at 236, which is an increase of about 10 from Q1. We've seen from FY25 to FY26 a steady increase in total VSCs per quarter. And this does, also we saw an increase in December as well, heading into the new year, looking kind of at the end of the year and what patrons have seen. So it kind of meshes with the resolutions and whatnot. So we did see a slight bump there. We're also seeing an increase in total reinstatements. I think that naturally follows one another. And it was an increase of 11 from Q1 as well. We are almost in the VSC realm, 50-50 split in person and remote. So a lot of patrons are taking advantage of our remote voluntary self-exclusion or reinstatement procedures so that we can kind of work with them through a Zoom call and talk them through the process and what it means to exclude or reinstate. And that reaches a lot more of the sportsbooks operators. But I'll move on to the next slide to talk through some of the live chats and why that's garnering here. So more specifically, we're in person, we have the interactions, we have our telephone calls. We're also here online, and we're seeing in the quarter 379 live chat conversations. We see these all times during the day. This is 24/7 coverage. Our overnight staff at EBH cover the live chat each night, and then it's dispersed through our 3 different centers. And again, you can really see that 224 of the 379 were VSC conversations related. Doesn't mean they all enroll, but just really informative conversations. And then, a significant number do end up being enrollment into an exclusion or coming back into reinstatement. And then you can see some more general information. Of course, sports information ties more to live chat and online conversations because they can be directed pretty easily to us in that scenario. But again, it's this robust set of services and conversations that we have with our patrons and that they can access in the way that they feel most comfortable, especially with the VSC topics. It's really about having the patron and the members feel really comfortable talking to us in their preferred method of communication as well. So this goes a long way to helping support folks coming in and again, why we're seeing those increases in enrollments. And thirdly, activity at the GameSense Information Centers before I hand it over to our managers. So as I mentioned, we had 14 activities across the board here in Q2. We ran, as you can see here, I highlighted our top 5 quizzes that really draw folks in. And I'll tell you, the cognitive distortions quiz is a great hit. It does cover all 3 months, so this may be a little misleading. Breast cancer awareness quiz in the month of October really had a lot of folks interested, and I'll have Joe's going to talk to you a little bit how we tie into the theme of the observance of the month, and then bring it into okay, let's talk about women's experience in problem gambling and how to support unique populations in that environment and work with folks to that level. We had a superstitions quiz for Halloween in October as well. In November, we had Thanksgiving and Veterans Day. So really trying to tie into those observances. And you can see here, we want to find folks if they're celebrating local or cultural traditions like the Cambodian Water Festival or the Mid-Autumn Quiz, where we give out mooncakes at EBH Center. We have New Year's resolutions. We also rolled out a gambling and drinking quiz with a focus for New Year's and into January, ensuring folks can get educated and get information on how to safely plan trips to and from casinos and just be responsible while drinking and gambling, and also have that safety plan to get there and get home safely. So we talk members through what options they have and ride sharing and whatnot. So I think they're all very pertinent and then very timely when we look at mapping these out for the quarter. So without further ado, the better part of the presentation, I'll turn over to Joe. She's going to walk you through a couple examples of the quizzes activities that we have. And Joe, I see you just came on, so thank you, or unmuted. Thank you for being here, and I'll pass it to you.
Oh, Michael, hi.
Oh, yes.
Before you pass it on, could you say more about the cognitive distortions quiz? What is it?
Sure. So really what we're focusing on with cognitive distortions is thinking patterns as it relates to gambling and understanding, that, for example, with slot machines, I've lost 7 in a row. The next one's going to be a winner. Yeah, I feel it. I can know it. It's going to happen. And we had an activity, a slot simulator activity, where we break down that really slot machines are fully random. They use random number generators. There's nothing tied to luck. There's nothing tied to superstition. Actually, I think the quiz that, although it's a superstition quiz, that Joe's going to show is kind of walking people through, if I have my lucky charm, I know I'm going to win today, and kind of working through, why that is a cognitive distortion, why that wouldn't actually play out in real life, and really having folks understand how the games work, and that, hot streaks, cold streaks don't really play a matter into it, and that there's always a house advantage. They're just really educating folks to help them make those best decisions and not rely on thinking patterns that are false.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great question. And now, Joe, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. Hello, Jolyn Baruther here from Plainward Park Casino. I'm manager there. So obviously our quizzes are here kind of to create engagement and curiosity and lower those barriers so people really want to come to us. And also it just creates a little bit of that barrier breakage with misinformation of what we do, because I think some people are a little bit misled on thinking we don't want you to gamble. We just want you to gamble responsibly. It doesn't mean we don't want you to. We just want you to be smart. So that's some of this, like especially with the superstitions one. We try to make these quizzes pretty simple, not very intimidating, but engaging, so that people will want to talk to us about it. So this one, obviously, we tend to run this kind of coincide with October, month of Halloween. One of them, this is the Kenny Rogers one. And you can go ahead and move on to the next slide for me, Mike. So obviously, we're going to create that engagement. Usually we dictate to the person. That way it creates a conversation right away. And we'll have them give the answer, and then we'll obviously give them the correct answer if they don't have it right. We try to tie in GameSense facts with it, so that it can transition to more of an engaging conversation about what we do and what we're trying to do to help the people in the casino understand what they're doing and understand the decisions they make. With the cognitive distortions one, I think that's kind of a big word. It's basically a thinking trap. So it helps, if you, with the cognitive distortion thinking trap, it helps influence decisions perhaps you wouldn't normally make, because you seem to create a pattern in your head. The next one, like Mike mentioned, we try to go through themed months. This is one we'll run in October for breast cancer awareness. We also, right now, we have a Black History Month quiz going. In June, we run LGBTQ quizzes. So we really try to tie into what's going on outside into what's going on inside. And again, we're constantly changing the quizzes weekly, if not daily, depending on the event. So it creates that new engagement with each person. Again, every single answer, we try to tie in a GameSense fact with it. It creates more education about responsible gambling for the person. And like I've mentioned, it ties into that conversation about what we do and who we are and how we can help people. These are super, super helpful because we kind of create a little incentive. If you participate in the quiz, you tend to be eligible to enter in the raffle. But it creates repeat customers, so they'll keep coming over and talking to us and learning more and getting more and more comfortable with what we do. And perhaps if they are at a point where maybe they need help, they'll be more comfortable talking to us about it. They're displayed at all the GSICs, all our information centers. We can also take them on our iPad. So if we do front of the house tabling, we'll have the quizzes there. And like Mike mentioned, we also have a few hands-on activities that we'll do, hands-on boards, almost like a board game. And those tend to be really engaging for a lot of guests as well, because it kind of makes them feel like they're able to play themselves and kind of control it themselves. So, and again, they're really, really flexible. So we'll take them to the back of the house during RGM and PGAM months. And we'll also take them to the front of the house, whether it's through an iPad or on the playboards that we have. They really help create those approachable and educational moments for people. And again, I think it really helps break that barrier to who we are versus what they think we are, because I think unfortunately we're still trying to create that bridge so people know we're not trying to prevent them from having a good time. We just want them to understand how to be responsible when they're having a good time.
Great. Thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate that. And I think you're going to stay on as we go to the next slide to start off our magic moments at PPC.
Okay. Yeah. So our magic moments, I don't know if everyone's familiar with them. So they're just kind of what we try to do is highlight a really nice moment that we have during that month with a guest. Sometimes the magic moments involve working with some staff in the back of the house. My most recent favorite one actually involved the security director and a guest. So he got a hold of me regarding a guest that he was concerned about who had gotten a little bit of trouble related to their gambling. He reached out to me and we escorted her to the office, and I ended up having a really nice conversation with her, about 45 minutes. An older woman who obviously identified as that she had a problem, but she wasn't quite ready to self-exclude, and some of the reasons were she doesn't have any other outlet for a social hour for her, so she didn't want to have that taken away. But what I did is I gave her a wealth of resources that we have. I also encouraged her to do a follow-up with Jody that we have, who will connect, and she's got those lived experiences with people. She now still continues to come to the casino, but we encourage her to take breaks. And so she'll tend to spend quite a bit of time at the GSIC with us instead of actually playing, which is nice. And she's really opened up to us about her concerns, and we've really tried to give her some resources. So she felt less shameful about everything after it was all said and done. And like I said, she repeatedly comes to the office. She's there a couple times a week. And if anything, it helps keep her mind and goals set to more just having social hour, because that's what she really needed. But it was really a nice magic moment for me, because I also had that connection with the back of the house staff, and it helps educate them on how we do things, and it makes them more comfortable with approaching us if they have a concern about a guest. That's it.
Great. Thank you so much, Joe, for sharing. And I will pivot over to Aisha from MGM to share hers.
Hello. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for having us. So my magic moment was with a guest when she came in to do an in-person exclusion. You could tell that she was very upset. And our thing is having conversation, open-ended questions. And she was upset with herself because it was a setback. So she was going to GA previously, and really committed to not playing. And then circumstances happened in her life, so she was back at the casino. She just opened up, and it was great. But she was very excited to be able to get the exclusion paperwork, and she was like, I am taking this to GA with me tonight and showing them that I signed up for the exclusion. By the end of it, she wanted to give me a hug, because I do that. I do get emotional with this stuff because it means a lot to me. But anyway, it's just great to, be able to have the conversations with people, get them to open up, and provide them with the necessary resources that they need. My thing is being able to help people. So
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Aisha. And we'll pivot to Jason for the third magic moment before we go to our Champions Awards.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. Mine was a little different. Mine is one of my favorite magic moments that I had since working here. I was working on Veterans Day, and I had a veteran, this older gentleman, walk up to the center, and he noticed our veteran quiz. And he's like, hey, can I take the veteran quiz? I said, absolutely. He didn't know anything about GameSense, so I explained to him who we are, what we do. And as we're taking the quiz, he wasn't a problem gambler, but he was shocked at some of the statistics for veterans. So by the end of the quiz, we were talking, and he was very appreciative of the fact that Massachusetts has programs like GameSense to help veterans out. Some of the, statistics were like veterans are twice as likely as civilians to experience gambling disorders, or people with PTSD are more likely to experience gambling harm than people without it. So when he was done with the quiz, he was definitely shocked. So it was more of an educational magic moment for me, but he was really blown away that Massachusetts does this for its patrons and for the veterans.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that. And thank you, all three of you, for sharing the magic moments. We'll pivot over and back to Aisha for our Champion Award winners at the MGM location.
So first up is Doug Smith in security. Sean loves to have conversations with Doug, which is great. He asks questions about how to be able to keep patrons safe and how to help them, how to approach them. And then, security with walking the floor. If he sees somebody that he thinks might benefit from having a conversation with us, he'll definitely come over and let us know so that we're able to, approach the guest and make sure that they're okay. And if they need any resources, be able to provide them to the guest. But, it's great that the employees also have, I guess, the education as well to be able to reach out to us and try and help keep the guests safe. Next, we have Beverly Forsyth. Bev is great. She loves walking over the center, and when we have our quizzes up on the screen, she'll answer the questions. So it's awesome. But I'll walk in during their giveaways, and she's sitting there with a big smile on her face every single time. But she too loves to ask questions about, what she can do to help the guests if she sees that they're struggling when they come in and they talk to her. But yeah, she loves to engage in what we do. And, it's great to, again, have those relationships. Don in promotions, Don Adams. He too is one of those smiling faces that love to have the conversations with us about our guests. and asks, meaningful questions, because when they go into promotions, they're talking about their day and they're gambling and things of that nature. So they hear the promotions team hear about guests that need maybe some help from GameSense. So they send them over to us or let them know that we're here and available. But as far as all three of them, it's great to have, again, the employees that help us out with helping the guests. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Aisha. And we'll switch back to Joe for our champion award winners at PPC. There we go.
Thank you. So champion awards are some of my favorite things because I'm really of the belief of building that bridge between us and the team in the back of the house to really connect with the guests. They almost have a better connection in some respects with guests than we can. So building that bridge with them. So having this Champions Awards creates a nice incentive for them to want to learn more about us. So the first one is going to be Christina Fournier. She works in human resources. This one's a little unique to most of them because this was more the back of the house work she did for us, for our gym. Between her and I and the communication, she was really pivotal in making it successful for the team in the back of the house. She helped handle the communication between the winners for the quizzes. She helped keep things very organized, displaying the back of the house tabling events that we did and making sure that people understood when we would be available and organizing people to come back there. She really brings a positive attitude and she really collaborates well. She makes our team at GameSense feel supported. So we actually feel like we're a part of the Plainridge Park team. Without her, without any of her partnership, none of the back of the house, RGEM or even PGAM would be nearly as successful without her. So I really wanted to highlight her. The next is Bob Charette. He's the security director. He has not been with PPC for very long, maybe about 6 months. I was in new hire orientation with Bob, and he showed absolute professionalism through new hire orientation during my presentation, but a real interest in what we do and how the security team and the GameSense team can really connect and make things more successful and safe for the guests who need support. He, within a week, reached out almost immediately to me asking about trainings that we offer, such as our QPR training. And he wanted more details on how we act and what we do and what he can do to help us. He actually was kind of tied in with my magic moment because without him, the person who needed help, who really found herself in quite a bit of trouble, would have never come to us. He absolutely encouraged her to come see us and spend time with us, and he continues to. So he's really good about keeping that connection with the guests, but he's also very good about keeping that connection with the team here. And then the last one is Matt Conlon in security. He works swing shift or the night shift in security. He's worked there for several years. He consistently takes time to explain the tools and the resources that we have at GameSense to other guests. We've had several guests come to us because of Matt. Matt also comes to us and is always curious about the things we do and what we have to offer and what he can do to help. He's got great customer service skills and he's super approachable with all the guests. He's built such a good relationship with them and with us, and really highlights again that teamwork that he wants between us and the PPC team. So all these people are very well deserved this last quarter.
Thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate it. And let's switch over to Jason and hear from our champion award winners at EBH.
So the Champion Award, like Joe said, it's one of my favorite. We do new high orientations there, and we get a lot of our leads at EBH from the employees. So the first one we have is Andre Machad from PAD. For those of you who don't know what PAD stands for, it's the public area display. So Andre cleans anything in front of the house that the guest sees. And part of that is the GameSense Center. That's where many of us first crossed paths with him. He was tidying up the center. He came across some of our literature and it kind of sparked his curiosity. So now whenever Andre is out on his rounds and spots any players that could use a bit of help, he doesn't hesitate to bring them our way. We're lucky to have such a supportive team member with Andre. The next one we have is Jose Villanueva. He's a newer member at Encore. I think he's been here for a little less than a year. He's young. He's an enthusiastic guy. He works in security. And those of you who've been in EBH know that the security podium, one of them, is right in front of the EBH Center. So we get to work with them hand in hand, and we get to know a lot of the security people. When he first started, he went through the new higher orientation. And then he was stationed in front of GameSense, and he started asking us a lot of questions. He started meeting us all and, reading some of the literature. He knew about us, but he wasn't fully aware of the depth of our work, how we support players. So now it's heartwarming to see that he takes the knowledge that we gave him and he shares it with guests. He's a really wonderful guy, and he loves his job and he loves to help people there. The last one we have, but not least, is Jonathan Medina. He's a slot manager. He's been at EBH for a while. Those of you who know that the GSAs, myself, we don't like to just sit at the GameSense Center. We spend 50% of our time walking through the casino, making those interactions with players. So that's where most of us met Jonathan. It was a pleasure meeting with him. He likes to chat with players, and he also helps players sign up with Play My Way, which big part of our GameSense advisors, what we do. He's always there ready to lend a hand, and when he sees guests that need a bit of support or have any questions about gambling, he really goes the extra mile and make sure that the guests have the help they need when it comes to responsible gambling. He will walk guests over to us that are having problems on slots or that he thinks that might need help. So we love our EBH employees. I'm sure the other managers also love theirs, but we work really well with our Encore employees.
Thank you so much, Jason. We appreciate it. And congratulations to all the Champion Award winners for Q2 across the 3 locations. And thank you so much to the managers for being here to present that and speak to both the Magic Moments, the Champions Awards, and the activities. As we come to a close for our portion of this meeting and our presentation, we have a quick look ahead to FY26 Q3, which we are in the midst of. As I look at the calendar, we're quite in the middle of. As mentioned, we did bring into January the drinking, driving, and gambling awareness activities that we had from New Year's resolutions. Those are winding down now in February, but that will turn us over to Lunar New Year Festival and our red envelopes. So come by and see if you'll have some luck in the new lunar year. That's starting now and going through, I believe the festival is on the 17th of February. So please stop by and see that activity if you are around EBH. And then additionally and excitingly, we have Problem Gambling Awareness Month in March. So we'll be looking to, at the start of March, having activities and a whole slew of activities for problem gambling awareness, front of house, back of house tabling events, a whole bunch of activity and fun things to come see at our centers. So if you are around the centers, please stop by and say hello. You may see one of our managers that you met here today. day. So I do want to just say thank you so much, and that will conclude our presentation from the GameSense team.
So thank you to everyone at GameSense. We appreciate it. Commissioners, questions, comments? Commissioner Broder, I see your mute is off.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Not sure who this would go to in the organization, but I'm wondering, as y'all collect this data, which is very helpful to be able to track progress and track effectiveness. I'm wondering, do you track any inquiries you may get from folks that have experienced or expressed concerns about the prediction markets?
Maybe I'll take that one. I think so our staff have the option to just take down notes as to like topics that come up. And so I can't say that it's like this very organized thing. It's that as ideas come forward, folks are letting me know. So certainly that has been coming up. I don't know, the managers can let us know whether it's often, but I've heard anecdotally it has come up, and I can say that Amy Gabrilla is working on some information and activities related to prediction markets. But do any of the managers want to weigh in as to what folks have asked?
Yeah, actually, because I think the popularity of prediction markets and the poly markets are fairly new. So they haven't, very, very rarely has that been coming up. Like Marlene said, I was working a little bit with Amy regarding the prediction markets as well. I think the more foothold they get in that kind of community, the more we'll listen and hear more about it. But right now, it comes up very, very rarely. But I know that we're planning on trying to get something started with that. But again, most of our focus is typically right now it's sports wagering is a lot of what comes up.
So in terms of problem gambling awareness month, as this market grows, I think it would be great to include that, or at least have that information at the ready. I'm not surprised for a couple of reasons that you're not seeing anything or not seeing a lot of volume, because this is fairly new, right, in the grand scheme of things. And unlike all the approved sports wagering operators in Massachusetts, I happen to have Kalshi up, but I think it is true across the board that those entities don't put up any kind of referral information about if you're having a problem. That may be a little bit too strong. There is again, this is just Kalshi, a link to the National Suicide Prevention Line. And they do appear to offer kind of a fee-for-service link to a mental health provider, but there is nothing that I'm aware of that folks in that space are offering to connect folks that might have concerns with folks like the Mass Council of GameSense. If to the extent we can figure out a way to track that, I think that would be an interesting thing to do.
It might be easier, and this is something I can work with the team on. My assumption, again, we can get a better hold on this, but that is likely coming up more in chat than it is in face-to-face conversations in the casinos. And if it comes up via chat, it's something that we can probably go back and look at, but certainly moving forward, we can tick a box every time, it comes up in an interaction online. So happy to gather some data around that for you.
Terrific. Thank you, guys. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you, Commissioner Broder. I'll reiterate, it's hard to think that GameSense is getting any real volume on this when none of those apps have any links to GameSense. And we require all of our sports wagering applications to have those links. We're proud of the work that the council does and connecting folks who have problems to the council. Thank you for that reminder, Commissioner Broder. Commissioners, anything else? The team? Well, I'll just say I always appreciate it, Marlene and Michael and Jolynn and Aisha and Justin, and I'm sure I'm missing a few when I get to see you and all the great work. And my favorite thing, and I say it every time, I'm like a broken record, is when I get to write those thank you letters to the folks of the properties who refer people to you, which I believe is shows that the program is working, it's working well, and that there's buy-in from the operators, which is even more important to me than the fact that the program exists. It's that people buy into the program. So anything else? All right. Thank you for joining us. Commissioners, we're going to turn it over, I believe, back to Mark, who has a second item for us.
Yeah, turning to the research side of it. Bonnie, Dr. Andrews is excited to talk to you about the policy to determine qualified researchers to access the player data described in Section 97. So, Dr. Andrews, I'll leave it to you.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here to present this proposed policy for you today. And I wanted to start off by saying Section 97 of the Gaming Act requires gaming licensees to supply the Massachusetts Gaming Commission with data collected from player loyalty programs for the purposes of conducting analyses that improve understanding of how gambling addiction develops and progresses, developing evidence-based harm minimization strategies, and developing evidence-based systems to monitor, detect, and intervene in high-risk gambling. It also provides that the Commission shall convey anonymized data to a research facility, which shall make the data available to qualified researchers. And this proposed policy would establish the criteria and process by which the MGC will determine who may be approved as a qualified researcher for purposes of accessing this anonymized player data. So as noted in the proposed policy in your packet, any individual or research team seeking designation as a qualified researcher would need to submit a formal application to the Commission. The application shall include components such as information about the lead researcher and research team members, funding sources and possible influences on research, including potential conflicts of interest, the purpose of the research and the methodology. If not funded by the MGC or collaborating with the MGC or initiated by and conducted by another state agency, evidence that the proposal's been submitted to an institutional review board for research ethics considerations. Researchers will be required to execute a data use agreement specifying legal, privacy, security, and ethical requirements related to use of the data prior to accessing the data. And also letting us know a plan for how they're planning to disseminate the research. In terms of a review and approval process, applications will be reviewed for approval by a review team appointed by the Commission, and applications would be reviewed for considerations such as alignment with the purposes of Section 97, value to the Commonwealth, so things like potential to inform regulatory improvements, public health strategies, or gambling policy, the scientific rigor and feasibility of the proposed research, researcher qualifications, and planned knowledge mobilization. So a practical strategy to share findings with policymakers, practitioners, and or the public. And lastly, in the proposed policy in your packet, there's a section providing information concerning final decision and other conditions, as well as other considerations such as grievance processes. So that's kind of a high-level overview of the proposed policy, and we're happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Dr. Andrews. Questions, commissioners? I'll take just a quick moment to say I want to thank the entire commission for making this a priority, but I especially want to thank Commissioner O'Brien. I know there were some hiccups along the way of ironing out some details, and she definitely ironed them out. So thank you, Commissioner O'Brien, for that. Commissioner Skinner, I see your mute is off.
Thank you, Chair. Echoing your comments and words of thanks to the team here, including Commissioner O'Brien, for getting this here, which is what I consider phase 2, right? We're talking about qualified researchers. So, I like what you guys are presenting on this policy. The Commission's Research Review Committee is already in existence, yes?
Yes.
Would you remind me who sits on that committee?
Yes, that's a team of consultants that are contracted with the MGC, independent researchers, who review sort of research proposals and also review submitted reports for things like, scientific rigor and methods used and feasibility of proposed research and things like that.
Okay, and who appoints that committee?
That committee, that committee is, we basically select that committee through an RFR process, essentially. So we release an RFR and people can apply to be a part of the research review committee. We review applications and then engage with them in the form of contracts. So they're contracted researchers.
Okay, and the review team, for purposes of approving the qualified researchers, is comprised of a subset of that committee, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So we're proposing it for at least to be the director. So it would be in current role, Mark and me, the deputy and deputy director, as well as at least one member of the research review committee.
Commissioner Skinner, if I just may add to that, one of the things that we look at for the research review committee is sort of what is their area of specialization. So part of whether it's we're reviewing proposals for research or we'll be reviewing applications for this, part of it is making sure that we have the right expertise, specialization at the table to inform next steps.
Okay, great. Thank you. I like it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Skinner. Commissioner Broder.
Mr. Chairman, real quickly, is part of the process that you mentioned goes forward a regularly scheduled review, say annual basis, to make sure that everyone is up to speed and that we have the the best policy going forward. Does that make sense?
So an annual review of the policy, Commissioner? Yeah. Certainly. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, Mr. Chairman, if there's nothing further from the commissioners, I'm ready to make a motion.
Commissioners, anything further? Commissioner Broder.
I move that the commission approve the proposed policy on determining qualified researchers under section 97 as included within the commissioner's packet and discussed here today.
Second.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner.
Aye.
And Commissioner Broder.
Yes.
And I vote yes, 5-0. Thank you, Bon and Dr. Andrews, and thank you, Director Vanderlinden. And again, thank you, Commissioner O'Brien. And to the rest of the commission for pushing this this matter forward. Anything else, Director Vanderlinden?
That does it for our division. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We're going to move on to item number 5. And for that, we're going to go to the Chief of Sports Wagering, Carrie Teresi. Good morning, Carrie.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. We have a couple of items for you today. For our first one, I'll turn it over to Compliance and Operations Manager, Stefan.
Thanks, Gary. Good morning, Commissioners. Next item for your review begins on page 36 of your packet. Over the last 8 to 9 months, our division conducted a targeted review of table tennis offerings currently approved for sports wagering in Massachusetts. That review included an assessment of integrity risks, patron complaints, and then meetings with integrity monitoring organizations. Based on that review, we are recommending an adjustment to the table tennis tab of the event catalog. Specifically, we recommend limiting the approved table tennis wagering offerings only to those competitions sanctioned by the International Table Tennis Federation, or the ITTF, and removing non-ITTF leagues from the catalog, which would include TT Series Elite Poland, TT Star Pro Series, TT Trophy Hungary, and Challenger Series events. Our recommendation is grounded in three primary considerations. First, patron protection. Since the launch of sports wagering in the Commonwealth, our division has received many patron complaints related to table tennis wagering, including concerns about suspicious match outcomes and perceived manipulation of results. And while not all complaints can be substantiated individually, the volume and consistency of these concerns raise broader integrity and consumer confidence issues, which launched our review last summer. Second is integrity risk. Internationally, these privately operated table tennis competitions have been associated with elevated integrity concerns, including documented instances of match manipulation. Most notably, the AGCO imposed a significant monetary penalty on a licensed operator for offering wagering on Czech table tennis matches that were later determined to be compromised by match fixing. And then third, expert consultation. As part of our review, we met with multiple independent integrity monitoring organizations such as IVIA, Sport Radar, and IC360, as well as the head of integrity at the ITTF. These discussions highlighted the significant difference in governance, oversight, and integrity controls between ITTF sanctioned competitions and the privately operated table tennis leagues. ITTF sanctioned events operate under centralized governance, a formal disciplinary process, and established integrity monitoring framework. In contrast, many of the private leagues lack these consistent oversight mechanisms and independent integrity controls, which increases the risk of manipulation, essentially undermining public confidence in these wagering markets. So our division recommends that the commission remove TT Series Elite Poland, TT Star Pro Series, TT Trophy Hungary, and Challenger Series events from the Massachusetts Sports Wagering Event Catalog and limit the approved table tennis wagering offerings only to those competitions sanctioned by the International Table Tennis Federation. This recommendation does not preclude future consideration of additional table tennis offerings should integrity conditions change, and any future petitions would be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. And then lastly, we are taking this opportunity to also clarify our event catalog for our sports wagering operators. There is an exhibit attached to your packet beginning on page 40. This is a full list of all ITTF table tennis competitions, which may be offered in the Commonwealth. Essentially, if a table tennis competition is not on the list, operators may not offer it. This process, which we plan to implement across our entire event catalog, will help clarify what events may be offered for wagering and reduce confusion with our operators. So that concludes our extensive review and recommendation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have at this time. Chair.
Thank you, Andrew. Commissioners, questions about this particular matter? Commissioner Skinner.
Just a logistical question. Thank you, Andrew. Should the commission approve this removal, what's the timing like for operators to come into compliance?
So we'll take the standard or the same approach that we did with removing other items from our catalog. So immediately after a vote today, if it is approved, we will send guidance to our operators to that the catalog has been updated and to cancel and refund any futures wagers on those markets that they have for non-ITTF table tennis matches.
Okay, so that'll happen today.
If approved, it would happen. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And just a comment on the process that you undertook, you and Carrie, to get us here today. I can appreciate the fact that you met with the integrity monitors and pertinent folks from ITTF. It seems to me to be a very well-informed and well thought out recommendation that I am more than willing to accept. And so, Chair, if there are no other questions, I'm happy to make the motion.
Let's just see, make sure no one else. And then I agree with you, Commissioner Skinner. I will take a point of privilege to say in the regulated market, we take the time to do this type of work and actually look at this and pay attention to it And folks in Massachusetts who choose to bet are safer when they bet with a regulated sports book.
Chairman, to that end, kind of got on the same line of thinking as I just spoke about. It does appear that these offerings are available in at least one prediction market. I don't want to advertise that fact necessarily, but more to illustrate your point that the regulated markets have folks that take a look at integrity issues that don't exist in other platforms.
Thank you. With that, Commissioner Skinner. Sorry for that.
No apology necessary. I move that the commission remove the official catalog of events and wagers. Put these on. TT Elite Series Poland, TT Star Pro Series, TT Trophy Hungary, and Challenger Series events, and approve the amended official catalog of events and wagers as included in the commissioner's packet and discussed here today.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Brien,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill, sorry, Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner,
Aye.
Commissioner Broder,
Yes.
and I vote yes, 5-0.
Thank you, commissioners.
All right, thank you for that. We appreciate it, Andrew. We're now going to stick with Sports Wagering Division, and we have some updates to Caesar's House rules.
Yes, thank you. For this item, I will turn it over to Compliance Officer Minuti.
Thank you, Carrie, and good afternoon, commissioners. So as detailed in the memo in the exhibit beginning on page 42 of your packet, Caesars has submitted updates to their house rules. These changes include minor revisions to the general betting rules, which serve to provide further clarification and advisement to the patrons. In addition, several sports-specific sections have been revised to include new markets, remove legacy markets, and update existing markets. So to start with the general betting rules, the ticket accuracy section heading has been renamed. The language under venue changes has been revised to clarify that patrons should refer to sports-specific sections for venue change policies. The obvious errors section has been updated to inform the patron that wagers may be placed on hold while the issue is being resolved. And finally, the cash out section now has language to advise patrons that cash out availability should not be a determining factor for placing a wager. So moving on to an overview of the sports-specific changes, starting with Australian rules football, we have the addition of 18 new market offerings. These markets range from scoring milestones, such as race to X points, or player stat propositions like player to score a hat trick. Next, in the auto racing and motorbike section, Caesars has made numerous revisions to further the patron understanding to this section's general rules and market offerings. They've also added 7 new markets, such as allowing patrons to wager on a driver's finishing position in a race, as well as the total points scored by a driver within a racing season. Moving on to badminton, these markets have been restructured and revised for increased clarity, with 3 new markets being added, allowing for wagers on propositions like game-winning margin or exact game score. Following badminton, we have baseball. Here, language has been added to the general rules for increased clarity, such as an advisement to patrons on betting outcomes when a game is tied after 9 innings, or outlining the carryover policy for suspended games. The match correct score market has also been revised to account for extra innings. Following baseball would be the basketball section. Caesars again has revised numerous rules within this marketplace to further outline wager settlement policies. They've also added 4 new markets, such as wagering on a game-winning buzzer beater. Next would be boxing. Caesars has added a marketplace here where wagers can be placed on the fight statistics of a match. The next section would be cricket. Revisions have been made to existing markets and general rules here just to provide patrons the better understanding of the settlement policy in the event of a delay. Following cricket would be darts. In this section, Caesars has added 8 new markets and also revised any existing markets where necessary in order to reduce redundancy in their offerings. Moving on to football, just 1 new market has been added here, which allows patrons to place wagers on the total defensive tackles made by a team. The next section would be golf. Here, Caesars has made a few minor revisions to their general rules. They've also added 12 new market offerings for both their sponsored tournaments and TGL League. Patrons can now wager on if a golfer is a wire-to-wire winner, where the golfer has led a tournament for all 4 rounds, or the TGL Championship winner at the conclusion of the season. Now on to rugby. 3 new markets have been added here, and some existing markets have also been revised, again, for better patron understanding. The next section would be snooker. 1 new market, frame handicap, has been added here, which allows patrons to bet on the result of the match after the spread has been applied to the official scores. Following snooker, we have softball. In this section, Caesars has updated the general rules to inform patrons that games will be settled in accordance with the associated governing body rules. And following softball would be the table tennis section, where updates have been made to implement several new markets, such as the to reach the final market or the tournament group winner market. Multiple markets have also been revised, again, just for increased clarity. The next market section would be tennis. Here, several existing markets have had language revised for ease of understanding. They've also added 14 new markets, such as the total aces or double faults markets. Following tennis would be the UFC/MMA section, where Caesars has made a revision to their general rules settlement language in a few of their existing markets. They've also added 4 new market offerings, one being the fight statistics market, similar to what was discussed earlier as an addition to the boxing section. The next 2 sections, beach volleyball and regular volleyball, have had the same changes made. 11 new markets have been added to both. For example, patrons can now wager on the over-under of the points or sets in a match and wager on the specific winner in a specific set. Finally, a little bit different from the rest is the field hockey section, where Caesars has preemptively added some house rules here, should they decide to make this an available marketplace for wagering in the future. So that would conclude this overview of the changes submitted by Caesars. Tina, Greg, and Curtis are here from the Caesars team to help answer any of your questions. And after thoroughly reviewing these proposed changes and comparing these rules and markets against other operators' house rules, our division finds that the update provides customers with additional clarity and a greater understanding of its proposed term. We have also confirmed that these house rules have been improved in 18 other jurisdictions. Therefore, we do recommend approval of these changes today. Chair.
Thank you, Griffin. Questions, commissioners? Statements? I know that I spent some time with this because there were so many red lines, but or I guess I'll say blue lines. But I understood it more to come in line with other operators and other things that are being done here in the Commonwealth. We just had a wire-to-wire winner in PGA, I believe. So don't know if that had anything to do with that change, but anyways, commissioners, I think I'm good with this. I see Curtis and Craig have both joined us.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Broder.
I move that the commission approve the updates to Caesar's House rules as included in the commissioner's packet and discussed here today.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner.
Aye.
And Commissioner Broder.
Yes.
And I vote yes, 5-0. Thank you for joining us to the Caesars team.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you, Griffin. Great job. Anything else, Chief Teresi?
That's all from sports wagering today. Thank you.
All right. Commissioners, do we want to do item 6 and then take a quick break? All right. So let's go on to Director of Investigations and Enforcement, and that's Caitlin Monahan. Morning.
Good morning. Today we have one matter for you. It's a new non-compliance matter related to sports wagering, and it is for the initial review of the commission and determination of next steps. I'm going to turn it over to Senior Enforcement Counsel Zach Mercer.
Thank you, Caitlin. Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. This alleged non-compliance incident involves Category 3 sports wagering licensee BetMGM and implicates 205 CMR 233.06, 205 CMR 254.04, 205 CMR 256.05, and 205 CMR 256.071. These prohibit marketing to certain populations. This incident involved promotions transmitted to individuals related to their use of the MLB Ballpark app at Boston Red Sox games. These email promotions related to 8 Red Sox games between April 10th, 2024 and July 25th, 2025. In that time period, a total of 96,167 emails were sent. BetMGM reported that it was able to confirm that 3,803 recipients of those emails were under the age of 21 as of September 4th, 2025. 19 of those recipients were on the VSE list, and 25 recipients were in a cool-off status with BetMGM at the time of transmission. BetMGM reported that it was unable to confirm the date of birth of 37,632 of the recipients, and they reported that the reason for the incident involved an individual employee failing to abide by BetMGM's internal protocols regarding promotions. I'm obviously happy to take any questions the commissioners may have regarding the facts, and in these contexts, the IEB is seeking the commission's guidance on next steps, which, to remind everyone, are to move the matter to an adjudicatory hearing, or refer the matter to the IEB pursuant to 205 CMR 232, where the IEB would conduct a further investigation and provide a recommendation to the commission, or under 23N Section 16, issue a civil administrative penalty. But as I said, happy to answer any questions at this point.
All right. I saw 2 mutes go off at once, so I'll go Commissioner O'Brien, Commissioner Skinner.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Thanks, Zach. I would like this to be an adjudicatory hearing before us. This is a sizable, both in terms of scope, size, and the percentage of those emails where they cannot affirmatively say we're over 21 is really disturbing. In addition to the VSE and the cool-off violations, this could end up with, substantial information in terms of what have they done, how have they done it, is there more information about the age, or identifying information of these people that got the emails. So I, for one, would like this to come back to us as adjudicatory.
Yeah, I'm the same. In addition to all of the above, the facts as we know them right now, as presented today, are particularly egregious. The non-compliance matter involves at least a violation, alleged violation of at least one statute, and where the affected population includes 3 distinct vulnerable categories. I would like to, and this is the first time we would be hearing a violation of this nature. So I am 100% in support of this coming before the commission as in an adjudicatory proceeding.
Commissioner Broder. Thank you, Commissioner Skinner. Commissioner O'Brien.
Ditto, and connected to some of our earlier conversations, one of the things we pride ourselves on is creating a safe, regulated marketplace, right? That is what differentiates regulated operators from others that are in this space or adjacent to this space. That and all the reasons that Commissioner O'Brien and Commissioner Skinner have already stated, I do think this is worthy of our full attention in an adjudicatory hearing.
Thank you, Commissioner Broder.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Hill.
I agree with everything that's been said and would request an adjudicatory hearing.
I'll add in that our goal is 0 folks under 21 accessing a sports book in Massachusetts. And we take this very seriously. And if something like this pops up, we're going to take action. Whether it's with the IEB or whether it's directly with the commissioners, we're always going to take action. But I agree with my fellow commissioners that in this circumstance, given the situation, we should directly tackle this issue ourselves and use IEB as a resource to do so. So I joined them, and I think that's probably all you need, right, Councilor Mercer?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Chair and Commissioners.
Just to make clear also, I don't know, Caitlin, you were going to ask this question, the role of IEB?
Oh,
Witness versus party?
yes,
I think
witness or party. I think it was recently we've been a party in these. I can't remember the last time we were a witness. So, but yes, it's clear.
just wanted to make sure that was clear as we go forward.
Thank you.
I was also taking that as a given too, Director Monahan. So thank you, Commissioner O'Brien. All right. Anything else, Director Monahan?
Nothing else for today. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. Commissioners, can we take just a quick break? How long do we want to do? 5-10 minutes? And then we'll finish up the meeting. Do 2 minutes. All right, 11:35. Or maybe joining just a little early, not sure. I got some feedback during the break that my mic is a little quiet. Is that still true? All right. I think it was just me, by the way. I think I was just talking softer. All right. Connor, I think we can take screen down. I'll take a look at, make sure everyone's here. All right. This is a reconvening of the Massachusetts Gaming Commission. Since we're holding this meeting virtually, we will do a roll call. Good morning still, Commissioner O'Brien.
Good morning. I'm still here.
Good morning, Commissioner Skinner.
Good morning.
Commissioner Hill. Good morning, Commissioner Hill.
Just 10 minutes.
I am here.
Yep, I knew he's here. And good morning. So I'll count you as Commissioner Skinner, and good morning, Commissioner Broder.
Good morning.
You really can't throw me off of my routine. It really, you know, I struggle with it. All right. We're going to turn it over to the legal division. As he was introduced earlier this morning. Good morning again, GC Scanlon.
Good morning, Chair. I'm going to turn it over to Justin, actually, because he's got more familiar with these items. So I'll turn it over to Justin if you want to take those items, Justin.
Yep. Thank you, Kevin. So Chair and Commissioners, starting off today, we have, I'll actually be handing it right over to Staff Attorney Autumn Borelli. She's going to do a presentation regarding the administrative appeals statistics from the past year. And then she could probably flow from that, if there aren't any questions, right into presentation of a number of regulations. And then it'll go to Associate General Counsel Melanie Fox for presentation of some regulations before we head into executive session.
Great. So today I'm going to be presenting the Administrative Appeal Summary for 2025. And just to jump into it, in accordance with 205 CMR 101, if anyone is aggrieved by a decision of commission, whether it's a license being denied or fined by the racehorse, they could file an appeal and request an administrative appeal before one of our hearing officers. There we go. This year we had 18, sorry, not this year because it's 2026 now. In 2025, we had 18 appeals. This was a slight downtick from the previous 2 years, and it's more of a return to an average. We had 17 gaming appeals and 1 racing appeal this year, which is back to normal for racing. It's, of course, 2024 was a big outlier in that regard. The decisions this year, or the appeals this year, were a majority of licensing decisions. It was the denial or the revocation of the license made up more than 50% of the appeals. We had 2 placements on the involuntary exclusion list that were appealed and 5 appeals of forfeited funds from someone who was on the voluntary self-exclusion list. Of course, part of the voluntary self-exclusion contract includes that if you are found in a casino, any funds you have won and any funds that have been turned into Tito tickets, chips, any sort of casino funds will be forfeit. And we had 5 this year, and that is the same amount as last year, so that's going steady. The vast majority of the people filing administrative appeals with the commission are pro se. For those who aren't attorneys, that's Latin for self-represented. We had 2 appeals where they were represented by the attorney this year out of the 18. This year, the appeals were predominantly English-speaking appellants. We had one person who requested a Cantonese interpreter and one appellant who requested a Lao interpreter. In accordance with 205 CMR 101.02 subsection 2, there is a set timeline for filing appeals for licensing decisions. It's going to be 30 days for placement on the involuntary exclusion list. It's also 30 days. That is statutory. That's not just in our regulations. And for forfeiture of voluntary self-exclusion, forfeiture of funds by those on the voluntary self-exclusion list, that is a 15-day appeal window. And appeals of the racing division decisions are 10-day appeal windows. And we had 6 requests that were outside the regulatory timeline. Filing an appeal is pretty simple. You need a request for hearing form that's available on the commission's website. You just need a statement explaining the basis for the request that explains what you're seeking for in the appeal, whether you want your license renewed or a fine overturned, and then you need a copy of the letter, order, or ruling that you were sent. I work with the appellants to make sure that if they don't have a copy or something, I could see if we are able to try to find a copy, but there were 3 partial appeals we received this year where either they didn't complete the request for hearing form or they did not provide a statement explaining the basis for their request. So for trespasses, obviously the commission can't control a trespass that was or privately issued by the casinos. That's a casino's private business decision, but sometimes trespass appeals are sent to the clerk's office anyhow. We received 20 of those this year. We refer them to the, apologies, the slides went forward. We refer them to the casino's private security lines. I know Encore and MGM both have dedicated emails for trespass appeals. And then once the hearing officers issue their decisions on these appeals under the next section of the regulation, 205 CMR 101.03, the parties can request that the full commission review the hearing officers' decisions. 3 appeals were filed with the commission in 2025, 1 by the racing division, 1 by the responsible gaming division, and 1 by the IEB. I think it's important to note that the appeals to the commission in 25, 2 of them were from January, and they were initially administrative appeals filed before a hearing officer in 2024. So only 1 of these was from an original case filed in 2025. And this is a new slide this year. We added a slide about the commission issuing decisions, both for the review of hearing officers' decisions, but also for adjudicatory hearing. This slide is meant to highlight all the work being performed both by the commission and the legal division on these important matters. There were, as you could tell in the previous slide, there were 3 appeals filed before the commission this year, but the commission issued 6 decisions. There were some appeals that were filed in November and December and then didn't have their decisions issued until this year. Do I have any questions?
Commissioners, since we have the slides up, chime in if you want. Well, thank you for going over that. We appreciate it and showing us kind of the great work that's being done in that division, and a reminder to all of us commissioners who have had to deal with the appeals of how many we dealt with.
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner Hill.
I just want to thank Autumn for giving us this presentation. This was very informative, and a lot of things go on in the commission that we're not day-to-day overseeing. And I found this to be very informative and thankful that it was presented here today.
Thank you, and I agree. All right. I think we're going to stick with you, correct?
That's correct. Next up, I'm bringing forward a couple of regulation amendments. They begin on page 128 of the commissioner's packet. These regulation amendments are coming to the commission for the first time today, and I'm going to be requesting a vote to authorize the initial promulgation process. These are not very substantive changes. They're largely corrections for typographical errors, incorrect citations. The first one is 205 CMR 101. I corrected a citation in 101.024, and I also changed a little bit of the language in 205 CMR 101.037 and 8. That's just to make sure the language is consistent throughout the regulation. There are some instances of the word chair, there's some instances of the word chairman, and so we just changed them all to chair so that they were consistent throughout, so there's no possible room for confusion. The next regulation was 205 CMR 134.08, and that regulates the application process for individuals and vendor licensure. And a correction was made to an internal citation there. I want to thank Senior Enforcement Counsel Zach Mercer for bringing that one to the commission's, to the legal division's attention so that we were able to make this amendment. And finally, I also corrected a citation in 205 CMR 238.32 3E. And that's just to make sure all of our citations are correct, that there's no confusion in the cross-referencing of the regulations. And if there's any questions, that's great. And I believe we have it set up so that it's individual votes for these 3 regulations.
Okay, thank you, Counselor. I'll note to the commissioners, it actually starts on page 82. We did have a matter pulled out. So I know that was a much further down the packet. So thank you for that. Commissioners, questions, comments? Motions? Good work.
Mr. Chair, I move that the commission approve the small business impact statement and the draft of 205 CMR 101 as included in the commissioner's packet and discussed here today. And further, that staff be authorized to take the steps necessary to file the required documentation with the Secretary of the Commonwealth to begin the regulation promulgation process.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner.
Aye.
And Commissioner Broder.
Yes.
And I vote yes, 5-0.
So you want to move on to 134.08? You ready for that one? I move that the commission approve the small business impact statement and the draft of 205 CMR 134 as included in the commissioner's packet and discussed here today. And further, that staff be authorized to take the steps necessary to file the required documentation with the Secretary of the Commonwealth and begin the regulation promulgation process.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner.
Aye.
And Commissioner Broder.
Yes.
And I vote yes, 5-0. I think there's one more.
I move that the commission approve the small business impact statement and the draft of 205 CMR 238.32 as included in the commissioner's packet and discussed here today. And further, that staff be authorized to take the steps necessary to file the required documentation with the Secretary of the Commonwealth to begin the regulation promulgation process.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner.
Aye.
And Commissioner Broder.
Yes.
And I vote yes, 5-0. All right. Well, thank you for those and always staying on top of our regulations, Counselor. We appreciate it. And with that, I believe we are going to go to sub-item F.
Good morning.
Morning.
Chair and Commissioners, just a quick note that I think we can take items 7F and 7G together, and that's because the subject matter and the language is identical in both 205 CMR 247 as well as 205 CMR 248. So if you're okay with that, I can proceed.
Works for us. I'm
Thank
seeing
you.
red dots.
So these two regulations are before you today for initial presentation and discussion, and the memorandum is located on page 101 of your packet materials. I'll provide a brief overview that our current regulations do allow the use of prepaid debit cards and prepaid access instruments such as gift cards to fund a sports wagering account and allow a patron to place a wager with those funds. A key concern being raised in collaboration with our sports wagering division and the IAB is that prepaid debit cards can be purchased using credit cards, which would be an indirect way to fund an account via credit card, and therefore create a loophole on the ban on credit card funding. Additionally, both prepaid debit cards and gift cards raise concern for fraud and underage sports wagering. Because these cards can be purchased without being linked to an individual's identity, they may allow underage individuals to fund wagering accounts without detection, and these funding methods are often very difficult to track. The proposed changes aim to clarify and update these rules so that they better support enforcement efforts and align with the existing statutory requirements under 23N, Section 13D, that a sports wagering operator shall not accept a wager from a person who is less than 21 years of age or a credit card, and the regulatory standards which mandate that sports wagering operators prohibit deposits made by credit cards either directly or indirectly. And as included in the memorandum on page 101 of your packet, there are two amendment options drafted for the Commission's consideration. Option 1 is amended to exclude prepaid debit cards and allow sports wagering branded gift cards. And option 2 is amended to exclude both prepaid debit cards and sports wagering branded gift cards. To help answer any questions, we're joined by Carrie Teresi of Sports Wagering, IAB Enforcement Counsel Zach Mercer and Kathleen Kramer, Sergeant Kevin Owen of the GEU, as well as Mark Vanderlinden of Responsible Gaming. And that concludes the presentation portion of these items.
Thank you so much. Councilor Fox, questions, commissioners?
I don't have any questions, just comments. I think that the version that asks to prohibit both is appropriate, given that our reg says you can use a credit card neither directly or indirectly. It would seem consistent that we would not allow the sports specific gift cards either, so.
Yeah, I had a question though, related to that. This is why the distinction between non-sports wager operator branded gift cards and just regular gift cards. I mean, I get that there is one operator who offers that branded gift card that you cannot purchase with a credit card. However, should another operator develop such a card and then make the determination that those cards can be purchased with a credit card, nothing in the regulation would prohibit that. If we go with option 1, sorry.
Commissioner Skinner, I think I can jump in there for a second. The reason we distinguish them is because there are different reasons for excluding both, sort of to the point you just made. The prepaid debit cards can be purchased with credit. The operator branded gift card cannot. So one is sort of a clear violation of our reg or a clear reg inconsistency right now. And the other is less clear, where it's more related to underage fraud AML concerns.
Yeah.
If another
today, Carrie, though, with respect to the sports wagering operator branded card, that's the case today, that they can't be purchased with a credit card. But what about tomorrow? I mean, just what about down the line? Should another operator say, I'm going to develop one and have the capability that card can be purchased with a credit card?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So
I mean, we would, of course, be communicating with them through that process, but you're absolutely right. This would allow for that possible opportunity that would require further discussions with whatever operator did intend to launch a
That option
branded-
one,
a
yeah.
branded gift card. Yep.
Yeah, so that's why, that's just my rationale, just in the event, just to prevent any future confusion or, enable a loophole. I think option 2 makes the most sense.
Can I ask a question real quick? And Commissioner Skinner, I tend to believe that the operators would never launch a gift card that could be purchased with a credit card. I think they would. I think they know better than to do that here.
Well, not if we're saying it's okay for option 1. I don't know.
Yeah,
I hear you though.
but we could also we could prevent that in another way too. Well, I have a question, which is we could write language that would say that in the event that nobody does that, we should, if anybody tries to do any credit cards, it's against the law. It's against the statute. Do we have any known instances of anybody under 21 receiving and using a gift card that was purchased with debit or ACH funds to date?
GEU might be most appropriate to speak to that, but as far as I know, we don't. But again, that's because there's no name on the gift card, so there's no way to detect that it was used by someone underage, which is sort of the whole problem.
Yeah, I can jump in. We don't have an instance that we could show you. Again, the way that the underage is what we've seen so far, the majority of underage is being identified from the mismatched names between the financial instrument and the account holder. So when you have with the anonymous nature of prepaid debit cards and gift cards, it removes that entire level of control of identifying the mismatched names and preventing the underage.
Usually how gift cards work. The person who buys them isn't usually the person who uses them. Commissioner Broder.
I'm not going to admit I'm pretty lukewarm on this, and I get what we're trying to do, but what's the way to put this? We're kind of chasing something that we're never going to be able to nail down. By that I mean, you can always cash advance on your credit card and then inject that into your gaming life and whatever, either through one of these card purchases or not. I mean, I think I mentioned this before. I don't know, maybe it was in a 2x2. Prepaid debit cards as a general consumer proposition are pretty junky. Truth be told, they typically aren't a great vehicle. There tend to be fees built in and things like that. So I kind of have a bias against that. In terms of the cards that might be offered by an operator, to the chair's point, there are prohibitions right now that I think apply, that even if we don't explicitly say you can't offer these, if we don't say, you still can't put it on your credit card if it's being sold through them. If they try to sell them outside of their own control, i.e. at Target, at Walmart, wherever the case may be, maybe it's a bit of a different issue. But this doesn't strike me as something that is going to move the needle in a huge way in terms of consumer protection.
Commissioner Broder, I had the same tension and still have a little bit of it. Chair Maynard and I were in the same 2x2. And so, some of that came up, but I think that we are required to exercise our authority in this space based on the information that we do have available, the information that sports wagering and the IEB is bringing forth. So, I am satisfied that, they give a thorough look at this and a sound recommendation emerged from their process. We can do as much, we can only do as much as we can do with the information that we have, and we have jurisdiction over, right? We don't have jurisdiction over credit cards. But we do have jurisdiction over how those credit cards are used on the platforms with the operators that we license. So that's my take. We're not going to catch it all everywhere all the time, but if we put this mechanism in place to assist in our endeavors, I think we'd be ahead of the game.
No, I don't think this is like a horrible thing to do by any stretch. I think this is kind of just closer to the edge in terms of what the result that's going to potentially produce. I definitely respect the work that went into it 100%.
Yeah, Commissioner Skinner, and you saw me struggle with this in real time when we were in that together. I try to strike the balance that we are supposed to strike every day. I know we all do. Let's get the part about the debit cards off the table. I think we're all 100% in agreement with that, right? Debit cards that can be bought with credit cards should not be available for use. Okay, so I think that's almost universal. Commissioner Hill can chime in if that's not true, but I think then secondarily you look at the gift card, and the struggle is that I have no evidence that it's ever been used in the wrong. It is not a violation of our statute because it's using debit. And so, at what point do we say, we're going further than what, to me, the operators are doing, they're complying with the law. So are we looking for a solution? Are we looking to solve a problem that doesn't really exist is what I worry about as a regulator myself, right? And so I've really struggled with the second one. I've struggled with it since I heard this was coming up. I see Director Van der Linden's on. I imagine he has some thoughts too.
Can I ask a question? I truly don't know the answer to. If you get, this is all hypothetical. I don't know who's offering them. I don't need to know for the purposes of this discussion. But if I get an Encore gift card from Encore, is that only usable for gaming? Is it only usable on the floor? Or is that something I could use to buy merch, go to a restaurant within the facility? Other non-gaming uses that card can be used for.
Can I tag on while they're answering? Or the sports book, the brick and mortar sports book.
Commissioner Broder, I can jump in with a quick Google answer. So, trust but verify this. There is an indication that the standard Encore Boston Harbor official terms and conditions only allow gift cards for dining, retail, spa, and hotel services. And not gaming.
Not gaming? Got it.
Can I ask him? Go ahead. Sorry, Dustin. I thought you
No, that's okay, Commissioner Skinner. And look, this is me just looking this up in real time, so I'll have to double check this for all of you, but I do believe that's likely the case, but I can read the official terms and conditions after the meeting and make sure.
My clarifying question, are we distinguishing prepaid debit cards from gift cards, right? Like the Visa gift card, we are distinguishing.
Yes.
Nodding. And so therefore, as a patron, I could go into Target, purchase a Visa gift card with a credit card, and then use that on a platform, sports wagering platform.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right, well, that changes things slightly for me. Because if we are allowing, and I just need to understand the rationale behind this a little bit more. If we're allowing the Visa gift cards to be utilized on a sports wagering platform, why would we not allow the sports wagering operator branded gift cards, whether or not you could purchase them with the credit card?
So Commissioner Skinner, it's two different considerations. If you try to sort of separate the prepaid gift cards and the operator branded, the prepaid debit cards and the operator branded gift cards. With the prepaid debit cards, it's a credit card funding issue. With the operator branded gift cards, it's an underage AML fraud issue. There is no credit card issue with the operator branded gift cards. And that's why we sort of created the two options, because there are different considerations for each. Not to say that the prepaid debit cards don't also have those same underage fraud AML concerns, but that's, it's sort of more conclusive to have the credit card, the indirect credit funding issue.
Potential.
Okay,
Should we say potential though? I want to be very careful. We have no evidence of these things happening. Potential AML, potential underage, potential issues with the gift cards, correct, Chief Tracy?
Right. It's a loophole. It's a potential loophole for someone to use to fund an account. So that's how I view it. Like you've all said, we can't prevent everything, but we do work to identify possible loopholes and then propose closing them where we can.
So we're saying yes to the sports wagering operator branded gift cards, not because you can purchase them with a credit card, or not because you can't, rather, but because there's less tracking of whether an underage individual is using that credit card. Is that right?
If you were to decide to remove the operator branded gift cards, yes, it would be because there's no way to identify who is using it.
I think these are two very different things, and the fact that they're being brought together is what's causing a little bit of my confusion. I'll speak to my confusion, where I'm clear on the point that Commissioner Skinner raised around. I'm 100% on board. If there's any, close funding source that equals a credit card, I'm 100% in banning that, and we should. The issue I have is we have an operator branded gift card that, as far as we know, there's never been an issue with. I don't know what volume they like, how many they sell, how much tax revenue does it remit to the state. I mean, there's a lot of those issues that to me are pertinent. But
yeah,
Mr. Chairman.
So can I suggest, is the approach to take today?
Sorry, I just want to just complete my sentence. With the clarifying information that Carrie just brought, I'm gonna not reverse myself, but I'm gonna change my my preference for the options. I am for option one at this point, because I think it makes a difference that we're separating the two issues for purposes of this discussion.
So what I was going to propose is bifurcating this, because to me, the question asked also about gift cards raises to me whether we should be going further and saying you can't use a gift card either, since a lot of those are you walk into BJ, CVS, whatever, and use a credit card to purchase them. So that's a separate query. So if you want that answered, which I do, if you want the answers that the chair just asked of what's the percentage of it, what's the monies, what's the revenue, what's the, et cetera, what I'm suggesting we do today is instruct staff, if we obviously have 3 or more of us, to go forward with option 1 and then come back with further discussions about 2 and broaden it. Let's talk about gift cards. Let's talk about some of the information the chair just asked for. Because it may be that what needs to be changed is more than even what option 2 is saying, but for different reasons.
Commissioner O'Brien, can I just ask what you mean by gift cards? You mean something other than operator branded gift cards?
Yes, other than that.
That would be included in this option 1.
That would be
think.
the prepaid debit
Visa
cards.
Prepaid, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we mean
So
by
any
the
gift
prepaid
card,
debit
so
cards.
any gift card is going to be deemed a debit card by the nature of how they structure them now?
Like the Visa and MasterCard gift cards, is that what you mean?
All considered debit as
Yeah,
opposed to a card you can load? Because you can take them and load amounts on them, right? Are those all considered debits?
Yeah, that's when we're talking about it, that's what we're referring to as the prepaid debit card. So that would capture, this would capture those if you were to remove the prepaid debit card language.
Okay. So I'm still for option 2. And I guess what I'm saying is I'm on board with voting for option 1, but I would ask that we come back because, and I said this to staff during the briefings, we had a lot of conversations about directly or indirectly funding with a credit card not being appropriate, and that being the interpretation of the statute and what our regs say. And so I do think that I have a couple different reasons. One, the AML, the under 21, et cetera. If you plug a couple of them, then you can focus on the other ways that you can track some of the stuff. So I'm not persuaded by the idea that there might be other holes and other ways to get around it as a reason to not act. So I have 2 concerns in it, which I think option 2 would cover, but I'm willing to move forward on 1 with the understanding we come back to 2, which is to keep looking at what are any other options that people are using to take credit cards to fund these things. And then also looking at the AML and the under 21 concerns that we're talking about.
Chair.
Commissioner Hill did try to break in. I want to make sure he's heard.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I have to be honest. I am not as upset about this proposal as some of my colleagues are. I came into this thinking that we would go with option 2 because I think we're being proactive. Although nothing has happened, something could happen. And we have been so strict with credit card use as a commission that I thought option 2 would be a no-brainer. And to me, it still is a no-brainer. However, I understand after listening to my colleagues, the concerns that they have. I would have no problem doing option 1 today and taking the suggestion from Commissioner O'Brien and bringing this back. But I have no problem going with option 2 even today. I don't have the worries that apparently my colleagues have on this issue.
And to be clear, that's the position I have, Commissioner Hill, but also understanding the meetings and moving things along, getting option 1 implemented ASAP, and then coming back on 2, I'm open to that conversation.
Understood.
Yeah, no, and again, the branded company cards, there's zero evidence any credit card has ever been used. And that's my hangup, right? Commissioner Hill, that's my hangup, is that I agree with you. Anything related to credit card, we should be on top of that. By the way, I'll take this opportunity to announce that a second large operator that exists here in the Commonwealth this week announced that they're not taking credit cards nationwide. I just want to let people know that. All right, Commissioner Skinner, sorry about that.
No problem. So Commissioner O'Brien talks about moving meetings along. And I promise I don't mean to prolong this discussion or go in circles. But when I asked the question earlier, whether we were distinguishing between the prepaid debit cards and gift cards like the Visa gift card, the answer was yes. Justin, you nodded, right, that we were distinguishing. And so now I think I heard that we're not distinguishing because in option 1 and 2, the reference to prepaid debit cards includes the Visa gift cards, which is correct.
So
oh, go ahead,
Carrie, let me see if I can state it. And if you think I didn't put as fine a point on it, you can wordsmith me here. What we're talking about when we talk about the prepaid debit cards are the Visa, the MasterCard prepaid debit cards. That's a prepaid debit card. It's a card you could buy at CVS. You could purchase it with a credit card. You can purchase it with cash. You can purchase it with some other currency. It's a prepaid debit card, and we don't know how it's being funded. And that's the concern, is that's the credit card loophole. The secondary issue is an operator branded gift card, right? So one of our operators offers their own bespoke gift card that's associated with them. and they say, hey, come buy, operator X's gift card, they sell it. And they each have different criteria. The first one is a credit card loophole. The second one, the argument, as I understand it from the GEU and from sports wagering, is that there's lack of it, you can't associate it with a particular person because the gift issue. I could buy one for Carrie and I could hand it to her and you wouldn't know I bought it. And maybe I'm 18, right? And I bought it for somebody and I hand it to him, and there's no chain of custody with that particular issue. So there's different rationale for each one. I understand what the commission's discussing, and I think it makes sense from a perspective. Maybe we teed this up for the first. We shut down debit cards because, credit card loophole. Everybody sees it. Let's close that gate, and then ask staff, mostly I assume sports wagering and GU. Let's collect some data. Let's get some numbers behind this. How much gift card is being purchased that's specific to operators in the Commonwealth? Is this like less than 1%? Do we have any sense of if there's any fraud going on here, any underage? We could dig into that. And I speak on behalf of folks that, because it's probably not me to be digging into it, but others could dig into it, and we could come back with some more data and kind of fill in the blanks on the conversation. But does that answer the question, Commissioner Skinner?
It's much clearer to me, but it's not intuitive to me.
It's confusing.
That
tricky because
debit card includes the credit card, the Visa gift card. Excuse me. It's just not. I just would have not thought that, and maybe I didn't ask the right questions in the 2x2. So, but I think we have a resolution for purposes of today's vote. I think that Commissioner O'Brien's recommendation makes eminent sense. So I'm happy to offer a motion, Chair, when you're ready.
I think that it makes a lot of sense to do that. The motion.
I move.
I want to make sure you knew what I meant.
I move that the commission approve the small business impact statements and the drafts of 205 CMR 247 and 205 CMR 248, specifically option 1, as included in the commissioner's packet and discussed here today. And further, that staff be authorized to take the steps necessary to file the required documentation with the Secretary of the Commonwealth to begin the regulation promulgation process.
Second.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Reiterating my understanding of what's going to be followed up on as terms of option 2.
Yeah, we're essentially breaking them out. Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner.
Aye.
Commissioner Broder.
Yes.
And I vote yes, 5-0. All right. Thank you to the GEU. Thank you, Director Vanderlinden, Carrie, everyone who joined us on that one. And thank you for letting us talk that through. I will remind everyone that we have to have open meetings for a reason. And occasionally we're not all of one accord and need more information, and that's okay. Notice that we do it very differently than hearings in Washington, D.C., the way we talk to each other. All right. With that said, we're going to the next item on the list.
So, Chair, I may suggest, just because we have a number of executive session meeting items, you might want to bump up the last public issue, and then we can go into executive session to resolve all of that and not come back to public session. But I defer to you.
That's what we'll do. I will read H through J in. We'll probably not be able to talk after that, and we'll decide if we're going into those executive sessions. But let me go ahead and take 8 and 9 out of order. Commissioners, do we have any commissioner updates? Do we have any other business that we didn't reasonably anticipate? All right. So I'm going to start with H. The commission anticipates convening an executive session in accordance with General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to FBT Everett Realty LLC versus Massachusetts Gaming Commission, as discussion at an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the commission. Would we like to enter in for that purpose?
I move that we go into executive session on the matter and for the reasons just stated by the chair.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner.
Aye.
And Commissioner Broder.
Yes.
And I vote yes, 5-0. All right, the commission anticipates that it will meet in executive session in accordance with General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss its strategy with respect to enforcement or litigation concerning prediction markets. Would we like to enter in for that purpose?
I move that we enter on the matter and for the reasons just stated by the chair.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Brien,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner,
Aye.
Commissioner Broder,
Yes.
and I vote yes, 5-0. I wonder if they opened up a market on whether we were going to do that or not. All right, finally, sub item J, the commission anticipates that it will meet in executive session to review minutes from previous executive sessions, as their discussion at an open meeting may frustrate the purpose for which the executive session was convened pursuant to General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A7, and Chapter 23N, Section 6I, that's January 9th, 2023, January 10th, 2023, and November 6th, 2025. And General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A7, Chapter 23N, Section 6I, Chapter 4, Section 7, 26C, and N, that's January 11th, 2023, and January 12th, 2023. The public session of the commission, do we choose to enter in for those purposes?
I move that we go into executive session to review the minutes just stated and for the reasons stated by the chair.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Brien,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner,
Aye.
Commissioner Broder,
Yes.
and I vote yes, 5-0. I will note that the public session of the commission meeting will not reconvene at the conclusion of the executive session. To everyone watching and to those at the MGC, have a great day.